Good morning again, friends. This is such an important topic, major pitfalls on the path and how to avoid them. I think many people feel like once they get on the path that everything is assured, there'll be rose petals strewn along their path, they'll never have a difficulty, they'll never slip, they'll never fall, they'll just go straight into heaven. And this just doesn't happen. We have to be prepared for delusions, tests that come, attachments we're not ready to let go of, fears or worries, karma that's following us around. And of course, with our practices, we are diminishing that every day. But we have to be spiritual warriors. You have to be ready to fight what Swamiji said one time, hand to hand combat with your delusions, with your difficulties, with the tests that come into your life. And so we have to remember and realize that it's going to be a battle all the way. And maybe here and there there'll be smooth sailing, as there was with one disciple master told, and then all a monk, and then all the monks thought, well, we also have smooth sailing. And the master said, if you stay in tune. And that's the most important thing, is how to stay in tune, how to keep our energy uplifted, focused on the path, how to keep God as a central reality of our lives. Gurus help with us all the time, practicing the techniques, keeping positive. And so I want to go through just a few today of the some of the major pitfalls. There are many of them, believe me. It's not just a few here and there. You don't have one or two. You may have one or two that you mainly have to work with, but there are a lot of pitfalls along the way. So the first one I like to talk about is, and these are ones Swami Kriyanandaji spoke of. The first is negativity. Now, negativity comes in different ways. First of all, you get on the path, it typically comes from old friends, family members, your spouse, people who know you at work as a certain way. And they wonder, now, why are you doing these strange things? I remember my family was all in tears when I left. And my mother kept saying, why are you going there? Why don't you just get a job like everybody else and you'll be happy? Why do you have to be better than everybody? Why do you have to try so much? Why don't you just settle down? That's the term people use, settle down. We want to settle up, not down. And so the family tries to take you away from your pursuits, old friends. What's the big deal about meditation? Let's go out and celebrate or dance or drink or whatever the things are. People, they try to pull you off the path. Be like me. What happened to you? You were so nice the way you were, and such a wonderful person who just did all the wrong things we did. And people are sort of happy when there's no challenge in front of them. You represent a challenge. And so there's the negativity from those who are outside of you. Then there's a negativity, the old habits, the old thoughts from your life, from the past, that are trying to keep you back. Those old habit patterns and the way you used to be, and all of that is trying to hold you back. But you have to realize that that's representing a pull towards negativity, that that's who you are, and that's not who we are. I remember when early on the path, I gathered all my old pictures. I threw them in the fireplace and I lit them and I burned them all up. And I just said, that's not who I am. Those thoughts and those attitudes, that person, those eyes, that's not who I am. And so, how to get out of that? Well, with your family, you need to explain to them how important this is to you. Explain to them whatever they can understand. Give them a book, give them some music. I told my mother about Brindaban, and that just about solved everything. Oh, you're helping those people? Okay, well, that's fine then. And so do something that people will understand, and they will They will want to support you in that. Also, for yourself, keep a spiritual diary. Keep your thoughts, how you're feeling, how you're changing. Keep a sadhana chart so you can see that you're making progress. We have to realize that the spiritual path is about change. It's not about staying the same. It's not, well, I'm fine the way I am, aren't I? Well, actually, I don't think we would be here if we were fine the way we are. So the spiritual path is about changing behaviors, changing thought patterns, changing attitudes, changing attachments, changing desires, change. And you have to say, no, I'm willing to put out the energy to make the change in myself. And so don't let negativity pull you down and say, no, you don't need to do that. No, you're fine the way you were. No, just go out dancing and everything you used to do. No, it's fine. Just be with your old friends. They're good enough, aren't they? You're happy, aren't you? Well, realize that you aren't happy and they aren't happy either. And so as you make the change in your life, and you start moving forward, you'll realize that negativity, it can't hold you, but you have to realize you don't want it. You don't want that old life. You don't want those old thoughts, those old habits. Don't let people strap you and say, no, you're a nice person, stay with us in delusion. And so you have to raise yourself up and say, I'm not going that direction. And then you'll find that there's a power that lifts you up out of that old way that you used to be, the old habits and the old attachments. And it lifts you up more and more every time you practice. And I know my family for 12 years, they were upset that I left. And then they saw me later and they said, whatever you're doing is great, just go for it. But you have to make the stand. And then you'll find that things really work out for the best. The next point I want to cover is fickleness. Now, this is very important. People come and they go, and they say, oh, I like this guru better than my guru. My guru is not even in the body. This other guru, he's in the body, and I'm getting so much there. And hey, maybe I can do both. Maybe I can do 3 or 4. And I've seen it happen. This isn't right. Once you've taken a vow of discipleship, you've taken a vow of Kriya, you've taken other vows on a particular path, stick with it. I remember someone who had taken Kriya, and this was in Gurgaon. And then soon after, they told me, they came and spoke and everything. And they said, oh, I went to a lecture of somebody and that was nice. And I thought, okay, so far, so good. Inspiration is one thing. Instruction is quite another. This is the way Swamiji put it to us. And the person said, but at the end of the lecture, then they gave Kriya. And I just knew that they walked out. And I said, well, what did you do then? And they said, oh, I went up and I took the initiation. I said, why? Why did you do that? You already have Kriya. You've taken Diksha through Master. And, oh, well, I couldn't really leave. I didn't want to disappoint. It seemed rude to walk out. And I just said, I'm sorry, but that's just not right. And we have to realize, Master asked Dr. Lewis, will you love me always as I will love you? And that was a vow of loyalty. And he said to Master, said to Swamiji, I give you my unconditional love. That was a vow of loyalty. Loyalty, Master said, is the highest law. And you can't play around with that. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do a little bit of that. And I know people who say, I found something that's just like Hong Sa, and now I'm doing that. I said, well, if it's just like Hong Sa, why did you do Hong Sa? And then, oh, I found something just like energization, just like it. And I do that now. I said, well, why, if it's like it, just like it, in fact, why don't you do energization? And so people try to skirt the edges. And And they play it like a game. You're playing with fire. Swamiji told us himself that he tried that. And he said it was a disciple of Lahiri Mahashaya was giving other levels of Kriya, 10 in fact, and told Swami Kriyanandaji he could get those. And if he took Diksha from him, and Swamiji thought, well, it seems okay. And he took initiation, and he said, as soon as I took that initiation, I learned all those higher initiations. He said it was as if a wall came down between me and Master for 6 months. That's no joke. You don't feel your guru's guidance and protection and love for 6 months. He said, until I stopped doing those practices, I didn't feel Master's presence. So be clear about it. I mean, shopping around, you do that before you get on the path, not after you're on a path. Walk the counter, do this. I did Buddhist chanting, I did transcendental meditation, I read every spiritual book I could get my hands on. Then when I got on the path, I said, okay, I'm making a choice, a clear, conscious choice. I give my love, my life to my guru and my loyalty. And you feel when you're wavering, oh, you don't feel his presence. And remember that one person who said to Master, oh, I found another guru, so I'm going to go there. He can dematerialize his body on one hillside and materialize it on the other. The Master said, fine, then. Fine, if that's what you want. But he said, I will withdraw my ray. Now, if this is your path and you do have the blessings and the grace and the protection and the ray of the masters, that's something you don't want to lose. And Swamiji said he knew that person. And a year later, they came back. There was no light there. Now, this is very serious. It's nothing that you can play with. That if Master has given you his love, he's given you his loyalty, his techniques. Sometimes I just think about, my God, look at all I've gotten. How could I ever walk away? How could I ever just do this and leave? And I know people come and go, they come and go, they come and go. Maybe it's not your path. Even if it's not your path, don't be negative about it. Oh, I never got anything from Ananda. It's like I never got, well, you must have gotten something. And so be gracious, be grateful. And if it's not your path, this path will lead you to your true path if you leave with the right attitude and with gratitude and graciousness. I remember somebody who left Ananda, this was in America, and the person basically cursed Ananda and Swamiji and everybody there. And people like as soon as they leave, they have to find a whole lot of excuses why they left. And Swamiji said, I was shocked. He said, they will never find God except through this channel. And I went, wow. Now, what did he mean by channel? He meant by this particular way, this particular system, this particular person being him as a channel of Master. And God chooses the guru. You don't choose your guru. And you think, oh, I like this one. He's dark and that one's light. And he's got long hair. She's got short hair. Oh my God, this has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the bond, the eternal bond that you have with that Master. So you can't just brush it off. Like Quran, he said, Master said, I lost touch with you for several lives there, but I won't lose touch with you again. And Senior Quran said, Master, you promised, please don't lose touch with me. Now, who lost touch with whom? The guru never loses touch. It's the disciple who shuts the door and says, okay, I'm going on. And the guru says, I will wait. So let us remember fickleness. It only takes you into more and more confusion and doubt and lifetimes. Another point is failure to listen and rebelliousness. Now, here's the point here. I was very rebellious when I came onto the path, and I didn't want to listen to anybody. I mean, most people are pretty headstrong, and in fact, Master said, I draw stubborn people. And so, stubbornness, it could go either way. It could take you up or it can take you down. Rebelliousness can be good if it's rebellious for God, or it can take you down if you're saying, nobody's going to tell me what to do, and I'm going to go my way. And that's how many people are. Well, I tell you, it sunk me into deep trouble. And if you want to go that way, try it. But listen to others. Listen inwardly to the guru. Ask Master what's right. I think some people never talk to him, they never pray to him. And they go talk to a psychic, talk to an astrologer, talk to somebody else. But who's talking to the guru? And inwardly, try to listen, and also listen to those who have been on the path longer than you. I used to listen, I still listen, my God, but I had long lists of questions. I would go to any acharya I could find when I first got on the path. Who made God? Why are we here? What is my duty? And on and on. I ask people the questions at some of these satsangs. Nobody asked a question. I mean, you should be asking. Find out what is the right thing to do and how to do it and how to live your life, and just to really listen inwardly. Open a book of Masters, have him talk to you, feel what he's trying to say, meditate on his words, absorb his vibrations after meditation, feel him at the spiritual eye, talk to him from here and feel him guiding your life. And you can get through a lot of difficulties, but if you nobody's going to tell me I'm going to do it, I want to do, well, try it. I remember when I moved to Mumbai a few years back, it wasn't by just whims and fancies. Like when Swami Sri Yukteswarji asked Master, he said, let me guide you, give me your obedience. And he said, well, why, sir? And he says, because you are guided by whims and fancies. Most people are. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I'm going to do this. And so then when I decided inwardly that it was right, I talked to 10 people, many my superiors. I talked to Jyotishan Deviji, I talked to Jayaji, I talked to all the acharyas here, all my guru bhais and peers here in India. And I talked to Master. I mean, that was the most important. And I inwardly talked to Swamiji. Is this the right thing? And then only when I got that assurance did I make that decision. It was a joint decision. When you're saying, oh, it's a secret, I'm not going to tell anybody this, I don't want them to know, then you're wrong. So if you want to be guided properly, be guided within, be guided by others who you respect, ask questions, try to figure it out. Don't hide and feel like it's a secret from other people. That was a big pitfall. Get with others, be with devotees, be at the satsangs. And a lot of times, I know some of you who are with Swamiji, will be at his satsangs, and most people's questions will be answered because of his vibration, and then he would answer them outwardly. And but inwardly ask God to give you the right answers, to guide you properly. Don't go by yourself. You're going to have a much more difficult time. And the last one is spiritual laziness. Now, this is an important one because a lot of people think, well, the guru will do it all. I've taken discipleship now, and I've given my life. I've given my life to Master, so now it's all up to him. All my karma, all my desires, all my attachments, everything, all it's up to the guru. Well, he said himself, 25% is your efforts, and that's 100% for you. And so, meaning you have to put 100% in that. And so spiritual laziness means that you're not doing the practices. You're not involved. You're not coming to things. You're not serving. You're not a part of the big wave of energy that Master is bringing to liberate us. You're on the side with your little rowboat, not going anywhere. Get on the big wave with everybody else. Some people never go to anything. Some people only come if they're forced to come. I hope that's not you, but some people, you never see them at anything. For a year, you haven't seen them. And they say, I'm having a hard time. What can we say about that? You chose it. And so that's spiritual laziness. I don't want to turn on my computer to turn on the program. I just want to sit on the couch and turn on the television. Now that's spiritual laziness. I don't want to energize because I don't like exercise. What is a person going to do with that? And so, what to do about it? Get up and get moving. Get with other people who are more energetic than you, more happy than you, more uplifted than you, more dynamic, more magnetic. Get with other devotees. Get online with them. Be at the satsang, even if you have to crawl to your computer. Get on and be a part of the energy. This is a special dispensation and ray of blessings and light that are coming from the masters. Be a part of it, and you will find that you're energized, you're magnetic, you're happier, you have more uplifted energy, and you can also help others. So let's have the questions now, Nitendra. As you can see, we'll go onward. We'll go longer today. And if you have questions, please ask them. It's an important, very important topic. Go ahead, Nitendra.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. And since we learn more from inspirations from people who we know, the first question is directed at you. It is, what was your biggest delusion and how were you able to overcome it?
Well, okay. That was, as I said earlier, I was very much a rebel, and I still am a rebel, but I'm a rebel for God. I'm not a rebel for delusion. Now, how did I get out of that? Rebellious meaning I just didn't think anybody could guide me. I didn't know about gurus. I didn't know Swamiji then. I just thought, who's going to tell me what to do better than myself? And actually, inside of yourself, that's a good feeling until you reach your guru. But how I got out of that, and I had that for quite some time, the beginning of Ananda as well. I remember people would say, "Oh, Dhyana, what are you going to do today?" That's none of your business. It's like, God, what's wrong with you? Well, where are you going? I'm not telling anybody. It was just like an old pattern, an old sort of hermit pattern, maybe. Well, that's at least a positive way to look at it. But what got me out of that, I tell you, Swamiji's love. He was so accepting of people's foibles and problems, and it just went away because it was such a loving environment, and he created that, and masters love. And as I felt that, I let down my guard, like, okay, I don't have to be the strongest person, the best person. I don't have to do all these things. I can actually relax in that love. And honestly, that's how I master changed me, was through love. And I think for many people, their biggest delusions and difficulties, you'll find you love master enough, it just like you throw it out the window. You feel that love in meditation. You just don't want to be rebellious or whatever it is anymore, or angry or fearful, or it just starts going away through love.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. The second question is, how do I know if I'm going right or that I'm making a big mistake spiritually?
Well, for one, why don't you seek counsel? Why don't you ask somebody you feel who may be able to help you? I've certainly done that my whole spiritual life. And also, there's an inner feeling of master's pleasure. I'll tell you a small example of that. That, as many of you know, I've been working with the Hindi Sangha on my Hindi for Kriya initiations. And I mean, it's definitely difficult, but I also definitely feel Master wants me to do it. And somehow in my meditation room, that Morty of Master seems like he's smiling more. As I practice what I'm supposed to say in there to him, I just said that smile. It seems to be more. And you can feel that in your heart. That smile seems to be more, or the love seems to be more, the joy seems to be more. Do you feel uplifted? Now, if there's a feeling of excitement, I can't wait, people go, ah! That's not a sign of the guru's blessings typically. It's a sign of your own ego. And are you calm? Are you centered? Uh, there's a definite deep feeling in you, typically, if you're going right. And I'll tell you something else. There was a time I had two big choices. One I knew was wrong, and the other one I knew was right. But I tried the wrong way because it was easier. And I just sunk. I just could feel my heart start hurting. Not my physical heart, but inside I just felt, oh God, this is so wrong. And you'll feel that. Then when I started the harder way, but the right way, I started feeling joyful and there was more energy and I could go faster. So these are signs along the way that might help you.
Thank you, Dhanaji. That is touching. The next one is, can I come back to the path if I fall? And how do I get going again?
Definitely. You heard what Swamiji said about Sadhu Haridas, and he found God. And so you definitely could and should come back. And how do you come back? I think the best thing you can do is just put yourself in the middle of satsang, a good company, positive, strong devotees who aren't wavering. Uh, don't be with negative people as much as you possibly can do this. Just it's even Swamiji would tell us, even if they're on the path, don't be with them. It's going to harm you. Somebody was, oh, did you hear what he said? Oh, she didn't do this and he didn't let me in the center and she didn't. It's like, God, you want to say, get a life. You don't need to be that way. And so don't be with negative people, be with people who are uplifting, who are strong. And you look at them and say, and I ask myself inwardly, is that person I have a strong possibility of finding God? I want to be with them. you know, do you want to be like in a run? Is that person likely to make it to the end and be in the front of the line or one of the front runners? And yeah, okay, I'm going to run alongside him. You see the difference? So be with people who are going to challenge our ego and say, why are you doing that? That's not right. You should be coming on this and doing this with us. So figure it out that way, and you'll save a lot of time and likely incarnations.
Thank you, Dhanaji. This is a live question and a very interesting one.
Mm,
I am much more peaceful and calm than I used to be, and I have good experiences in meditation as well.
mm-hmm.
That has made me complacent. How do
Oh,
I
no.
how do I raise my bar higher?
Gee. I would say, for one, do more Kriya. That'll get you out of complacency. I mean, if you do more Kriya, there's power there. There's not just a peaceful feeling, there's Shakti moving in your body. Energize more, get off the couch and exercise. Uh, and then I think a lot of people don't do any Guru Seva, isn't it? I serve my wife, I serve my husband, I serve my kids. Do you serve masters? Work. Find something you can do. And then you'll be with other like minded people. I mean, at Ananda, there's always a challenge. There's always people who are really out there going for God. 50 years worth, over 50 years. It's a challenging life. And so if you're feeling complacency, maybe you're on the side by yourself too much. Get in the game. And you'll see there's people who are really moving out. Talk to them, be with them, serve with them. I think that will help.
Thank you, Dhyanuji. We have two more questions.
Okay.
First one is, some people start on this path and then move on and are happy with what they are doing. Now, does that necessarily mean that they have fallen if they leave this path?
No, that's a good question though. It's the path. This path isn't for everybody. You see, it's a challenging path. It definitely challenges you to the maximum because I mean, and you can find God on this path. There's so many others. Everybody's hugging and kissing and just chanting a little bit and eating. And that's okay if that's all you want to do. But remember that one guy, Master said, called him his baby in public. He said, I'm babying him. And you don't mind me saying that, do you? And the man said, no, Master, I don't mind. And some people want to be babied. If you do, that's great. But who wants to stick around? Who wants to come back here again and again and again? At a certain point, you just say, I want out. I've had enough. I had enough of going to the shopping mall. I had enough of going to the hotel or whatever. I had enough to going for teas. I had enough, Divine Mother. I had enough of getting money. I had enough of wealth. I had enough of getting a bigger house. I've had enough. I don't want another car. At a certain point, you just say, I want to get out of here. And when you want to get out, she says, great. Finally, I've been waiting. And then she shows you the way out. And so for up until then, you just have to keep going on your own. But for some people, it's not their path. It'll propel them onto their path. And once it gets you onto your path, my God, it takes so much to earn a guru and kriya. My goodness, a God realized guru, to throw that out the window, it's a major spiritual mistake. But if this isn't your path, Master said, this will propel you onto what your true path is. So go at it and with that energy.
Thank you, Dhyanuji. The final question is, Master said environment is stronger than will.
Yeah.
But what does this mean in light of the pitfalls on this path?
Well, think of this. A dance discotheque environment. You feel like dancing, don't you? A drinking environment. Everybody's drinking. You feel like, why don't I take a drink? Everybody's doing it. Isn't it so? And an environment that is negative. People are all negative and gossiping and they don't like this or that. You start doing the same thing. Isn't it so? This is an environment. Master said, if you put your coat in a smoky room, you take it back out, it's full of smoke. You take on, you're affected by that. It's no joke. People think, oh, I'm okay. You're not okay. You're not strong enough. Swamiji said, have a spiritual bodyguard with you when you go, even out to a restaurant, to a hotel for a restaurant or whatever. Take a spiritual bodyguard with you, a guru by. Includes Swamiji's music or book, autobiography, the pictures of the gurus. Do something, but don't think I'm fine. You're not fine. It just can pull you down. Now think of the opposite. Living in a holy place where people love God. Everybody's serving. People chant and meditate. People think of others. I mean, is that environment not going to help you to be deeply change yourself? So if you can be in positive spiritual environments, like this one online is a positive spiritual environment. Just even on Zoom, it's a positive spiritual environment. The Shivaratri night we had just recently, that's a positive spiritual environment. The Kriyaban retreat that's coming up in April, that's a positive spiritual environment. Kriya yoga initiation, all of these things, long meditations, Kriyaban meditations, they're all positive spiritual environments, kirtans. And if you never go, You can't get that by yourself. I'm sorry to say, unless you're a very advanced soul, can you go off to a cave and find God by yourself? And I don't think we're there, to be perfectly honest. So be in a spiritual environment and it will propel you, not only help you a little bit, it will propel you forward in your quest for God. Be in a negative, heavy environment with your old friends and old habits and all of that, it's going to pull you back. Now, you can't be in a positive environment all the time. What do? Be in it as much as you can and create it in your home, create it in your meditation room, create it in yourself, create it in your mind, but create it. Otherwise, you could be sucked down. The image I have in my mind is that you're going along nicely on your little boat, and then suddenly all around you are sharks and they're just ready to take you down. You have to have this, be in a big vessel. Ananda is a big vessel with a lot of power behind it, all the gurus guiding it. And we're all there together and we're all moving in the same direction. And so don't jump off. Oh, no, I'm ready to get my own little boat by myself. Try it. It's difficult. You won't make it. If you stick with Master, his teachings, your Guru Bhais, stick with Swamiji, you have a definite, strong chance of finding God. God bless you all. Have a nice day. Thank you, Natindra.